Good morning, grade 8. Today is September the 11th, Friday, and we have to mark the homework of exercise 9.1. We have to solve the unknowns here. So in the question number 1a, we have to solve for y. Okay, so remember I want to get y alone. So that's why I take the positive 8, which is on my left-hand side. I take to the right-hand side and it changes its sign. So now it becomes a negative 8, and 25 minus 8 is then 17. Let's look at question B. Remember, I have there 2x, but remember 2x means 2 times x, okay? So if I want to get rid of that 2 on the left-hand side, on the other side, then I have to divide with 2. So 82 divided by 2 is then equal to 41. The same here in question C. We have 3m is equal to negative 48. And like I just said, 3m means 3 times n. So to get that 3 on the left-hand side, if I want to take it to the right-hand side, then I have to divide with 3. So I'm going to say negative 48 divided by 3. And remember, a negative divided by a positive is going to give me a negative answer. And 48 divided by 3 is then 16. So my answer is negative 16. At question D, I have x over 2 is equal to 15, or x divided by 2 is equal to 15. Now to get rid of that 2 on the left-hand side, I have to multiply with 2 on the right-hand side, and 15 times 2 gives me 30. Right, at E, I have 27 plus b is equal to 43. Now to get p alone, I have to take that positive 27 on the left-hand side to the right-hand side. It was positive, so now it's going to become a negative. And 43 minus 27 gives me 16. At F, I have n squared is equal to 25. Now to get rid of this square, I have to use the inverse calculation. And the inverse calculation of square is a square root. That's why I take the square root on the right-hand side. Okay, and the square root of 25 is going to give me 5. But I write a plus and negative there because the answer can be positive 5 and it also can be negative 5. Because if you say, for instance, 5 times 5, that's going to give me 25. But remember, if I say negative 5 times negative 5, that's also going to give me 25. Okay, at G, I have the cube root of x is equal to negative 2. Now, to get rid of the cube root, I have to take, I'll say negative 2 to the power of 3. All right? And negative 2 to the power of 3 means negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2, which is going to give me an answer of negative 8. Okay, at question 3, you had to solve this equation, or you had to give the value of y if x was equal to negative 4. So I'm going to keep the equation, but in the place of x, I'm going to write the negative 4. Okay, I'm substituting x with negative 4, and remember the square has to be outside the on the outside of the brackets. I keep the rest of my equation, and now remember negative 4 squared means negative 4 times negative 4, which is going to give me a positive 16. Then I have to subtract 2, and that's going to give me 14. Question 3c, I have to get the value of y if x is equal to 3. So that means in the place of x, I'm going to put brackets, and then I'm going to substitute the x with 3. Keep the rest of the equation. Now, minus 4 times 3 gives me minus 12, or negative 12, minus another 12, and that's going to give me an answer of negative 24. And then the last one, we have y is equal to a half x plus 16, and we have to calculate the value of y if x is equal to negative 24. So that's why I'm going to replace the x with brackets, and I'm going to substitute the x with a negative 24 and keep the rest of your equation. Now, a half times negative 24 is going to give me negative 12 plus 16 will give me an answer of a positive 4. Alright, so let's look at 4 steps which we can use to solve any linear equation. The first step is to multiply out brackets, and I'm going to explain the steps by means of this equation on the right hand side. 2 and then in brackets x minus 15 is equal to 4. Right, so the first step says I should multiply out brackets. Okay, now there's more than one way to solve this linear equation, but I'm going to use these steps now. So first of all, I have to multiply the 2 in with each term inside the brackets. So 2 times x is going to give me 2x, and 2 times negative 15 is negative 30. Right? Keep the rest of your equation. Now the second step is to get the unknowns or the variables on the one side and the constants on the right hand side, or just separate them, it doesn't matter which side. Alright, so I'm going to keep the 2x on the left hand side, then I'm going to take the negative 30 to the right hand side, and it will become a positive 30. Now step number 3 says do the calculation. Now what I mean by that is this 4 plus the 30 I can calculate or just simplify, which is then 34. And then the last step says get the unknown alone, or get the variable alone. So I have to divide with 2 on both sides to get rid of that 2 so that I have x alone. And 34 divided by 2 is then 17. Okay, now let's look at the bottom 3 examples. The first 2, I want you to notice that the x is the exponent here. The unknown that we have to solve is in the exponent. Now there's a certain way how we solve these equations, okay? If x is the exponent, then I have to write everything in exponential form. What do I mean by that? I mean 125, how can I write that as an exponent? I hope you all agree with me, but 5 to the power of 3 is equal to 125. 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. Now, when I have my bases the same on both sides of the equal sign, I can throw them away and just keep the exponents. Alright, so then it's easy. I know that x will then be equal to 3. The same with the second example. 6 to the power of x is equal to 36. Now x is the exponent, therefore I have to write everything in exponential form. Right? So 36, how can I write 36 as an exponent? It is 6 to the power of 2. Now again you will see that both my bases on both sides of the equal sign are the same, so I can just throw them away and keep the exponents, so then I know x is equal to 2. Now the last example on this slide is not the same as the bottom 2 examples that I've just shown you. Do you see that the x is not the exponent anymore? Yes, it does have an exponent, which is 5, but it's not the unknown that is the exponent. Now remember we said you don't have to write the 1, but if there's nothing in front of that variable, there's a 1. Okay, so these 2 terms, 1 and 2, they are liked terms. So I can subtract them. 4x to the power of 5 minus 1x to the power of 5 gives me 3x to the power of 5. Keep the rest of your equation. Now remember, I want to solve for x, so I want x alone. That's why I have to get rid of the 3. Right, so I divide with 3 on both sides to get rid of it. So now I have x to the power of 5 left on the left-hand side, and 3 divided by 3 is 1. Okay, who knows how I will get rid of that exponent there? I have to get rid of it by taking the 5th root on the other side. And the 5th root of 1 will stay 1. Please, will the teacher pause this video so that you can write this down, these examples down in your book, and then we'll look at a few other, there's more examples, so let's continue after you've copied this into your book. Alright, I would like you to pay attention to this as well. They ask us here to write and solve the equation that represents these word problems. Let x be the unknown value. Okay, so they give us a word problem in words, obviously, and we have to rewrite them in a mathematical way, if I can put it like that. All right, so let's see. They say the sum of a number, we don't know what the number is, so let's call it x. The sum means I should plus the sum of a number and 15. Okay, so there you see the sum of a number, which is x, and 15 is equal to 63, and we have to find the number. Okay, so that's a linear equation. And we can easily solve that. We have a positive 15 on the left-hand side, so I'm going to take that positive 15 to the right-hand side, and it will become a negative 15. So then x is equal to 48. Okay, last one here. They say a number multiplied by itself and then multiplied by itself again is negative 64. Find the number. So we say a number multiplied with itself. So a number multiplied with itself and then multiplied with itself again is equal to negative 64. All right? So x times x, remember all three of them have an exponent of 1. So that's going to give me x to the power of 3. Keep the rest of your equation. Now I want to know, how can I get rid of that exponent to the power of 3? I hope you all agree with me, but I have to take the cube root of negative 64. And if you're unsure, use your calculator, please. But the cube root of negative 64 is negative 4. Okay, so the teacher that's with you now, please pause this video. Guys, your homework is in exercise 9.2. Number 2, BF, and number 3. I think the numbers differ from the page, the work plan that you got, but please do these. You have to do these numbers. Okay, number 1, number 2, BF, and number 3 for homework.